It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So let's make the best of this beautiful day. And since we're together, we might as well say, well, you can't be mine because of segregation now. Right?
No, it's not true. There's no such thing as if though it never existed. It always existed. But for somebody to say that, all of a sudden, what law has recently passed to say that segregation is a mandatory thing in law now. And even if it was something that they came up with, who would listen to it anyway? Who's going to enforce it?
Elon Musk.
I don't give a. Elon Musk is a foreigner as a people.
So, not so much well, it's going to involve details about the government and policies, but what is your personal opinion about segregation and how do you feel? And what do you think the effects would be? Is it positive or negative if they really could and did enforce segregation?
It'll be both. It'll be both positive and negative. It would be negative first before it can ever be positive. Right? It's going to create some things. One, it's going to cause economic destruction. Right? And it literally will, to me, in my opinion, would literally cause civil war, if you will.
Because you're going to have to segregate. If you're going to enforce full segregation, I don't think there's a such thing as partial segregation. Then you have to enforce segregation in the stores, on the jobs, in the schools. So,
yes.
And then when I was telling him that when you really enforce it, it could be a big impact. And you said that, well, bring it on, right?
Yeah.
Let it fall. Let it fall. Because we don't feel that you can really, America and United States, or America, however you refer to as America, I don't think that you're fully going to be able to function without the participation of people of color, as y'all say. I don't think.
No, you are not going to be able to function fully. You just won't be able to function properly.
Well, they got that figured out though. They ain't worried about that.
Well, they have nothing figured out. They've been around for 250 years and they still don't have it figured out. Okay, that's because why they've been able to operate the way they have operated is because we are the people who are asleep. We have walked away from our own body politic for the sake of modernization.
Again, what are the positives? What are the positives of enforcing segregation in this current day? And what are the negatives?
Well, the positive would be is that many people will have to go back home where they came from. That would be a positive. It's for you to go back to where you came from. You know what I mean? And take your ideas and your ways and your customs back to the land where you came from. That would be a positive. Why? We, like you said, we were builders. We had our own. Hospitals. We had our own schools. We had our own scientists. We had everything.
Even up until the early 2000s, I remember in Benton Harbor, Michigan, they had a hospital. It was just starting to not be functioning like in the early 2000s, I believe it was. Because I used to go down there and get my hair done. So, and that was functioning with black people. Benton Harbor, Michigan is predominantly black, or it was.
Yes.
Some years ago.
Yeah, you got to think about what happened to all the Black Wall Streets, all that stuff like that. And most of the younger people today, they don't even remember that. It lasted until well into the 90s.
We didn't tell them about how we used to have our own little stores in the neighborhood.
Yes.
And we had our own trash men.
Yeah.
And even if they weren't a functioning doctor with a degree, you had people you could call on that would deliver babies and knew what herbs and what medicines to use for you.
Yeah, we had plenty of doctors, you know what I'm saying? Dr. Shamley, there was people like him. We had Mr. Perry's drugstore. We had
the juke joints. We had plenty of them juke joints.
Yeah, we had juke joints, but I mean, we have professionals. The corner stores, Miss Bertha's, so on and so on. You know, all these people, all these corner stores and these meat markets and all that stuff like that was owned by us.
So don't get me wrong though. Like the inclusion part, being acceptance. I mean, being accepted by those who don't really like you is a problem personally for me. But you know, you just get over it after a while and learn how to just exit for you.
Yeah.
Learn how to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really real.
No, it never has been.
I know who's going to hurt more than anybody, though. And you guys should take this personally.
Well, that would be a serious fallout, because it's like, okay, you got to choose. You know, you're gonna choose sides, right? And you might not be, you might not be white enough. You might not be black enough. You know what I'm saying? So
the downfall.
Yes. But
burn, baby, burn.
Let it go. As they say, let it burn. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to do it anyway. You know, ultimately, it's going to happen, whether we want to accept that or not. You know what I'm saying? It's always been that divide. And people say race, I say nationality. It was here before you got here. It's going to be here after you leave. You know what I'm saying? So
let's make a pretend. Let's pretend that. Let's just go by the school that I used to work for. It was pretty mixed, quite a few biracials, mostly white. So if you enforce segregation in that little community, in that neighborhood, that would mean that all the people who bought their homes and put money down on their homes, now they got to pull out because it's a predominantly European white community. And the schools, you got to take all your children out of the schools. That's going to be chaotic. It's going to be chaotic.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Who came up with this idiotic idea that all of a sudden segregation is being pushed again? Well, who came up with that? And it don't even make no sense. Politically, it doesn't make sense.
We'll look and see if it's like real.
It's not. I don't even have to look into it. I just know that politically, what they're saying doesn't make any brain sense whatsoever. We've always been segregated. There's nothing changed. You think just because, that Brown versus the Board of Education stopped segregation? That didn't stop segregation. But yet you still use redlining. So you can use a political platform and say a thing and pass a law, doesn't mean that they're going to follow it. What law have they followed since they've been here?
We should be praying for those who are making these decisions, those that are in power and that have the authority. We should be praying for what?
Like I said, sudden destruction. Because that's the only thing that's going to be the real answer.